Hello, one and all. This is my review, reaction, and cut discussion of the Time Reincarnated Slime Season 3, Episode 10. And I'm expecting this episode to end Volume 7 and maybe start Volume 8 since the two volumes kind of bleed together quite a bit. But at the same time, we still haven't really gotten Hinata's backstory. In the light novel, she had a whole internal monologue like halfway through her fight with Rimuru, which was honestly kind of weird when I was reading it. Like, this is a strange place to do this right here, right now, but I mean, Hinata, being stabbed, Hinata laying down the ground dying, this is the perfect time for some self-reflection as she thinks, let me think about my parents. My father was a strange man. So I'm very interested to see what that is, and honestly how people react to her, because I'm seeing a lot of hatred for Hinata online, which is, not unexpected. She is incredibly stubborn and kind of annoying, but this is really the point where I think it turned around for a lot of light novel readers, where they started realizing, hey, I kind of like this girl. I'm not sure if her backstory will make the difference for anime onlys, but we'll see what happens. Also, we're starting off with 7-Day Clergy, and we're realizing, wait a minute, these are the dudes who betrayed Aldomon. And I think that means they might be behind all of this. If, Hinata's being backstabbed, Hinata's attacking without really wanting to, and Hinata's confusion by the message wasn't clear enough, these guys popping up is enough for Rimuru to realize, oh, I get it now. These are my enemies. These are the people I need to kill. That makes things way easier. Alright, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. I mean, that is technically true, since Luminous said don't attack Rimuru, but at the same time, you're not in your country, or not in Lubelius, you are in Tempest, and you have to do what Rimuru says, because he is, the freaking leader here. As it is, your very appearance is essentially an invasion. Oh, you idiots. Yeah, I love the difference here. The people who don't know are like, oh my god, these are the leaders of the church. Hinata has, angered them. We need to convince them Hinata's actually good. Well, this dude's like, yeah, no, these guys are the bad guys. These are the ones behind all of this. We need to kill them right here, right now. Yep. Unfortunately, he was a bit too late with his realization. I mean, seriously, dude. You even straight up said, hey, this guy, the redhead, blanking on his name, he's acting weird. It's like he's an entirely different person, and yet you were not expecting to be freaking backstabbed, because, spoiler alert, he is in fact an entirely different person. The real man was killed quite a while ago. I mean, that's not a bad lie, and at the very least, it's enough to really cause some confusion among the Crusaders. Well, that is honestly genuinely disturbing, seriously. I was expecting kind of like an allusion to Fade, not for him to literally rip the skin off his face, which honestly might have been the skin of the real guard. It's entirely possible. Actually, in the light novel, some people said, but Rimuru said, you are violating the laws of my nation, before thinking to himself, actually, this nation doesn't really have any laws yet. It's basically just do whatever I say. Which is such a great moment, as he was basically thinking to himself, I really need to establish some laws in the middle of all this. I mean, seriously, people are always like, oh, there's not enough battle in this series. This is not a battle series. This is a nation-building series, which has, like, one fight per volume. That's basically it. Oh, also, in this middle of all this, Rimuru actually has made a fake heart for Hinata out of his own slime cells. Unfortunately, there is a very low compatibility, so it's not really, doing much, but it's just keeping her on the edge of living for the time being. Oh god, God, Diablo, your timing is just so absolutely perfect. As he's basically telling Rimuru, yeah, these guys are actually our enemies. If you didn't have enough evidence, now we know for certain they are our enemies. Yeah, do you have any evidence? Well, they just try to murder about a dozen journalists from around the world. That seems like pretty goddamn good evidence right there. Oh, exterminate them. Oh, God, that smile is beautiful. In fact, in the light novel, he said, rub them out, which is just somehow more brutal, but exterminate them just sounds so good right here. Especially with that smile. That was a very, very big mistake, as they riled up a primordial demon who was about to murder 3 of their numbers. Yeah, okay, now the rest of them realize it. I mean, I think it should have been obvious when they stabbed Hinata or blew a hole in her chest, but now even these idiots realize, oh, okay, now I see what's going on. Yeah, that was always the plan, to wipe out all of them, which quite frankly seems insane to me because, I mean, these are like the 10 great saints, or at least a majority of them. Wiping out the entire bunch of them is going to be very hard to explain to your god, even if you just say, oh, Rimuru did it. And I actually think the explanation they're trying to go away from here is that, oh, Rimuru attacked us and killed everyone, but we were able to beat him off, we emerged victorious. At the very least, that's the story they want to tell with the journalists, that, you know, the 7-day clergy are currently in the process of trying to murder. Oh, the demon attacked and killed all of them, but we, the 7-day clergy, arrived and saved the day. Still, though, that is going to be a massive dent in your fighting force, and it's going to make the church look really, really bad. Yeah, from the very beginning, just kill all the witnesses because we look suspicious as heck here. Yeah, I mean, that is literally an unbreakable barrier that no monster could ever hope to escape from. It is impenetrable, essentially. Yeah, dude, seriously. I'm pretty sure that's the one that used to be guard. You saw her break through the other barrier very, very easily. What makes you think she can't break through this barrier? I know it's a lot stronger, but still, she is crazy, and her sword and skill literally let her rewrite the laws of reality themselves, which is, you know, just a bit broken. Yeah, this is... I mentioned this last episode. Shion's attack could actually hurt and possibly kill Rimuru. Raphael is actually afraid of Shion because she is just that freaking broken. God, I love that girl. I do love that, you know, Raphael just literally activated a skill on her own without Rimuru telling her to do so. I mean, the amount of autonomy she has is genuinely terrifying. Also, oh, that looked good. That looked really good. Oh, that was beautiful. Also, yes, impossible because, you know, Rimuru literally just sacrificed that skill to stop Hinata's big bad attack. Seriously, Raphael, why would you not just explain that to Rimuru in the first place? Also, I do love just... God, I remember when this chapter of the manga came out, there was like a 2-month period where I saw people commenting again and again, this is so stupid, because of this stupid fight, Rimuru had to give up his ultimate skill Beelzebub, this is stupid, this is awful, this is terrible, this is such bad writing. It's like, yeah, no, of course Raphael would not let him lose a skill that powerful, a skill that literally makes him immune to, you know, projectile attacks. That'd be insane. Okay, this right here is the big attack, disintegration, or in this case, I think, Trinity disintegration since it's being cast by 3 of them. This is literally the strongest spell in the school of spiritual magic. Also, I believe that when Hinata used her Melt Slash attack before, she was literally imbuing this spell onto her sword, which is what made it so deadly. God, but this is what I love. Rimuru is so overpowered and broken that he doesn't even know exactly what it is he can do or what skills he has. I believe this one was a result of him combining his multi-layer barrier with the skill that he got from analyzing Veldora and the barrier that he was trapped inside of. So this essentially makes him invincible. Okay, so I'm sure we're going to get an explanation to this, but just to sum it up real quick, essentially, the ultimate barrier skill wouldn't work against a spiritual attack, or wouldn't be entirely likely to work against a spiritual attack, because spiritual particles don't work, spiritual attacks don't actually use magicules, they use spiritual particles, which move in kind of random and hard to predict ways, making it very hard to defend against. But because Rimuru sacrificed Beelzebub, he was able to absorb and analyze how spiritual particles worked, and can now better defend against them. So that's the reason why Raphael did all of this. An insane strategy, but also one that made Rimuru much, much harder to kill. God, I love this attack. Okay, I mean, I saw a lot of people complaining last episode, like, oh, the animation is so bad, which I didn't think so, but seriously, this is where the budget went. They are doing some awesome attacks this episode, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, oh god, that visual. Oh, I love it. Seriously. Not only is he perfectly fine, but he's holding up Hinata. That is so beautiful. Which does make sense that she was floating, and landing on the ground probably wouldn't be good for someone who has a hole in her heart. I mean, quite literally, her heart is actually very badly damaged. Rimuru, you really want to just leave Hinata on the ground like that while she's bleeding out? I mean, like I said, Light Novel Rimuru actually had like a fake slime heart implanted in her to keep her blood pumping, but I think that required him to actually like be near her, so leaving her just bleeding on the ground is a weird choice. Oh, you think you can run away? That's so adorable. And yeah, Luminous's rage. We'll see about that. Yep. Oh, you should know who that is. You should know there's only one person who comes through a giant, ornate door like that. There she is. The goddess herself. And to this point, they realize, oh, we messed up. We really, really badly messed up. Yes, who could have guessed Demon Lord Valentine Luminous is actually the god Luminous. Clearly there's no connection there. Also, let's not forget we have this whole other fight going on with the 7-day clergy, these 3 7-day clergy, trying to kill all the journalists and Diablo and Sar, which is not a good look for them. Especially since, all these people are journalists. Don't try to kill journalists. They will say mean things about you and people will listen. God, that head turned down like, oh, just, yeah, okay. You're right. I'm on the wrong side here. Oh, he looks like a little child pouting. Yeah, I think you kind of owe Diablo an apology here because you've said some very mean things about him, and he literally just saved your freaking life. Yes, you're literally making a deal with a demon. Of course he's gonna want something. Money, power, your very souls? What could he possibly want from you?
理解が早くて助かります。私が求めるものは一つ。大司教殺しの真実を周知させることです。
Yeah, seriously, he's literally just asking him to be fully and completely honest with the world about what just happened and about how the 7-day clergy just tried to murder them. I'm sure there might be some, pushback from, their actual employers back home, like, we can't say that about the church, we can't say that about the 7-day clergy. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of journalists here, and I feel at least some of them are going to print the truth, and that's going to make the rest of them, kind of need to print the truth, or else they won't have the most interesting, exciting story that anybody has ever freaking seen. We'll write about how gallantly you protected us. God, that's beautiful. Okay, so also important to point out, while they just agreed to say the truth, they have just now entered unknowingly into a contract with Diablo, meaning his tempter skill is now in effect, and anybody who tries to betray him will, basically send out a big red flag saying, I'm trying to betray you, at which point Diablo can very easily just kill them. Huzzah! Also, I'm not seeing her now, but apparently people were pointing out in the last episode there was a blue-haired journalist in the group, which seemed very likely to be Rain, the sidekick or maid to Demon Lord Guy, which is very, very interesting, and, I have a lot of questions about that right there, though it certainly makes sense for Guy to investigate humanity by having one of his maids work as a fake journalist, heck, maybe a real journalist. I mean, she can teleport, so she could, do a full-time job as a reporter while still working and serving Guy. That actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Whoa. That is one angry Diablo. I mean, let's not forget this king repeatedly mocked his lord, repeatedly mocked Rimuru, and that's royally ticked him off. Yeah, and I mean, even his own knights are like, yeah, man, you're on your own. Best of luck. Oh, I love it. Jesus Christ. He fell to his knees so fast, the crown literally fell off his head. I can't imagine anything more pathetic for a king than that. Or a better metaphor for someone being unworthy of the crown. Literally crying like, I'll give you my throne! God above, he's pathetic. I know he's facing certain death, but man, have some dignity here. Yeah, I don't even think this was part of Diablo's plan when he started threatening the king. I think you should realize, oh yeah, the throne. I was supposed to get that for Yom, wasn't I? Alright, this works. Jesus Christ. Also important to acknowledge that these two are bickering while the 7-day clergy are literally charging up an ultimate attack right behind them. God, I love that. God, just getting the close up and whispering to him. God, reminds me so much of the Demon Lord Council when Guy got up and nibbled Rimuru's ear, which was terrifying and weirdly sensual. Anyway, though, so yeah, now Yom's gonna be king. Huzzah! Yeah, Diablo's like, this really wasn't how I expected things to work out, but awesome. Now Yom is gonna be king way faster than I originally planned. And I feel like there was something else I was supposed to deal with. Oh yeah, the 7-day clergy. I should get back to them. Oh, seriously. I mean, the animation of this episode is top-notch. Oh god, Diablo fully, completely unbothered by this attack. An attack so powerful it literally takes 3 people to cast it. 3 incredibly powerful people at that. And this I'm super excited to see because Yeah, I didn't really understand what was happening when I first read this part of the light novel. Seriously, I read it and I thought to myself, okay, I need another season of the anime just so I can see this kind of actually played out. I mean, honestly, the manga for this was very disappointing, but this episode of the anime so far has been good, so I am optimistic for Diablo's next skill.
敵の絶望を知れ発動ディスペアタイム
Okay, no, this is pretty much exactly what happens in the manga. Okay, disappointing. I mean, the way the light novel described it was like a world of monsters and terrifying things and all that. But anyway, so what Diablo basically did here was a lot of really weird things. Moment of Despair, Tempting World, is a spell that normally affects one's mental state and makes them see things that aren't there, but because Diablo is just so overpowered, he was able to pump enough energy into it to actually create an entire virtual world, and then he used Truth Twist to swap what was real and fake to make the virtual world the real world, and then use the skill End of the World to destroy the world. So essentially, he trapped the Seventh-day Clergy in a fake world, made it real, and then destroyed the new world he had created. Yeah, Diablo's broken. Diablo is overwhelmingly broken. I think even more than Shion, this is just insane and terrifying and godlike. Okay, I take it back. That was actually way more entertaining than the manga. Just slowly being crushed like that so they're literally exploding into a pile of blood. That is beautiful. Oh, I love that. Jesus Christ, Diablo. Yeah, that was kind of insane, honestly. I know I complained that it wasn't as interesting as I was hoping it'd be, but it's still just insane what he did right there. Yeah, also, hilariously enough, the Paladins have no idea who Luminous is. They weren't even entirely sure if their goddess was real or not, and now she's literally standing before them. I mean, it'd be different if they had, like, statues of her throughout the church or something, but no. They have no idea what she actually looks like. Yes, your god is literally standing in front of you. Oh god, just imagine that. Imagine, like, this, literally the Christian god appears in front of the Pope and his cardinals. I feel like they would have a rather similar reaction. I mean, in their defense, Rimuru, you're kind of a god too. I'm just saying. Your people literally worship you, especially Alderman, but I mean, even beyond his, fanaticism, pretty much everyone in Tempest worships you. Which, this is something I've actually never really understood. I mean, Hinata came to Tempest even though Luminous told her not to. I get that Luminous is kind of absent from the day-to-day business of the church, but still, Hinata's been gone for at least a week. I think several weeks at this point. I feel like at some point she would have figured out, oh, something's going on here and I probably need to go deal with it. Okay, so we are getting the backstory like I figured, which, actually kind of, I mean, like I said before, I'm very interested to see how people react to this backstory and react to learning more about Hinata, especially after they find out what exactly she did back on Earth. Yeah, so Hinata did not have a good, first impression of this world, as she was literally about to be violated and then sold into slavery, so yeah, that does kind of explain a lot about her. Though she handled it incredibly well, I gotta say. And within like a minute, she figured out, okay, so I'm in a new world. This is a world where people have to fight in battle, and I need to kill these people. Good for her. Yeah, so Hinata's father was not a great person, and I think this does relate back to, I mentioned something a few episodes back when Hinata was in Bloomin'. She saw a mother, father, and daughter just smiling, laughing together, and she had a very strong reaction to it. That's because she was reflecting back on her own past. I mean, her father didn't start off as a bad person. Essentially, he lost his job at the factory and then just kind of fell into a spiral that resulted in, this right here. This very, very sad scene. So part of the reason why Hinata is so focused on, the teachings of Luminous in Lubelius, in a happy kingdom where everyone can smile, where no one faces despair, where no one faces unemployment, is because she doesn't want people to experience the same thing she did, to go through the same torture she did growing up. She doesn't want to see any more broken families. Yeah, this is how it was in the light novel, in the manga too, whereas the light novel just said, she left no evidence, but she pushed the man off a freaking cliff. How? Why? How do you get him to stand on the edge of a cliff so you can push him? Did she already kill him somewhere else and just move the body here? But she didn't even have like a driver's license by this point, so yeah, I have a lot of questions about how exactly she murdered her father, and have so far gotten no answers. Except she somehow pushed him off a cliff, which, again, why would he be standing on the edge of a cliff? Oh, God. The actual broken glasses are part of his memorial. Oh, that is just so heartbreaking. Also, there's a spider climbing on the picture, which I guess is a sign of how, the house has fallen apart even, without him gambling and beating her. Also, again, they were happy, they were smiling, they did have good times before the factory broke down and before he became an unemployed, alcoholic, gambling deadbeat who'd beat his wife. Yeah, so after her father's death, her mother started praying a whole lot, with the light novel seeming to imply that she was praying for forgiveness for her daughter. At least Hinata wondered if that's what she was praying for, which seems to imply Hinata came home and is like, "Hey mom, I killed dad." Which would certainly explain why she had his glasses, though I guess she could also just be like, "Oh, we were standing on the cliff and he fell over, or he jumped, it was suicide," something like that. But the light novel did imply that she actually knew about it, so I'm curious. Yeah. So that's a big thing. Hinata, again, her father's company, her mother's heart, her father, all that was taken away from her. And so when she came to this world, her desires not to have anything taken from her resulted in her unlocking the skill Usurper, which allows her to take things from others. Also, I probably should explain that too. That's not Raphael's voice that Hinata is hearing right now. Rather, it is the voice of the world. Essentially, the reason why Raphael can speak is because when she was Great Sage, she more or less hacked into the world itself and downloaded its communication system. So now she's able to speak as the world speaks, which is entirely insane. Seriously, seriously insane. Great Sage was never supposed to talk, but just to improve herself, just so she can better explain things to Rimuru, she hacked into what is essentially God itself and stole from it. Oh, good lord, I love that skill. And she copied his fire magic skill too, so yeah, within the span of being in this world for like a minute, she now is able to dodge attacks, see them coming, and use freaking magic. God, she is broken. Oh, good lord, that was cool, that looked really cool. Just the screaming bone face, oh my god, I love that. Seriously, they are going next level with this episode. I mean, I know they have the same face, but still, your sensei didn't have, blue hair and golden eyes. Yeah, so Hinata would be probably about 25, 26 years old. But Rimuru, never think about a girl's age. Especially when it's someone with as sharp as intuition as Hinata. Oh my god, she literally just had open heart surgery, and now she is just staring holes into him. God, I love that.
何か失礼なことを考えなかったか？いいえ、とんでもない。それで、いつまで見ているつもり？失礼しました。大変感服でした。
Yeah, I mean, her chests are pretty much exposed right here. At least the bottom half are, which super embarrassing. Even Hinata's blushing here.
ほう。君、デリカシーないって人から。
God above, this back and forth, literally seconds after she comes back from death, is just so indicative of their relationship. They aren't really enemies, they aren't really friends, they're just people who like to bicker back and forth, essentially. God, like I said, her intuition is crazy sharp. She knows that Rimuru died an almost 40-year-old virgin. But yeah, we still have these three idiots to deal with, who have very clearly betrayed their god. And I feel like everything is going more than according to plan, since they've already made Yom king. I don't remember Rimuru's exact schedule, but I feel like he's really skipping a few steps here. Also, Hinata, he got stabbed in the right side, and you're focusing on his left shoulder. Shouldn't you put your hand, like, more near the actual wound? Just saying. No, you did this for your own sake, you morons. You just were so focused on being her number one, on being the best, that you have spent decades, centuries, killing anyone who showed even a bit of talent that might upstage you. God, I love this skill. As the literal hands of God come down and crush them to death. I mean, I certainly feel like Rimuru has the upper hand right now, after Lubelius just invaded him and their 7-day clergy tried to frame his butler and has caused no end of chaos for him. They really owe him a lot. Oh yeah, let's not forget, so far only 6 of the clergy have actually been killed. There's still Gran, the Sunday priest, the strongest of the lot. Cardinal Nicholas. Ah, this man right here is just next level Chad. Yeah, which is honestly a hilarious thing to say. Like, the 7-day clergy literally like, oh yeah, our God isn't actually real. She's just like, Santa Claus, something we all believe in. Insane. Utterly, utterly insane. Yeah, Cardinal Nicholas is like, okay, so there is in fact a real God behind all of this, and I really don't care whatsoever. Yes, this is a man, a high-ranking member of the church, who doesn't actually care about the church or their God. He worships Hinata and Hinata only, which is just so utterly insane. God, I love it. Yeah, like I said, Cardinal Nicholas, absolute Chad right here. And the reason he's able to do this so quickly is because he set up the spell in advance so that it would trigger as soon as he, activated it. Meaning that 7-day clergy right here, Gran wasn't able to defend against it or teleport away or do anything. I feel like this is a bit weaker than light novel because in light novel, we actually saw this man making Hinata breakfast. Like, no joke, he's a high-ranking member of the church, but he's basically like a maid for Hinata, making her breakfast and doing everything for her. God, I love it. Yeah, so he's fine. Basically what Gran did was set up, or not really Gran, the leader of the Rosos did, was set up a fake body to serve as Gran, so that way he could work in the church and work outside the church at the same time. And if anything happened to him, if anyone betrayed him, like for example a cardinal, he'd be perfectly fine and keep on living. And while this dude is crazy strong, that was a very good surprise attack, and may have truly killed him even in his main body.
天使の襲来かね。
いいえ、違うわ、おじいさま。あの魔王は経済で世界を。
Yeah, so basically, this dude right here is the leader of what is essentially the Illuminati, and his role, the role they all have, is to control the world through its economy, except now Tempest is controlling the world through its economy, meaning that they're gonna lose a lot of power if they don't do something about Tempest immediately.
支配するつもりなのよ。
まさか。
ええ、次こそはこの私。強欲のマリアベルの名に。
God, that is one creepy, creepy little girl. Mariabelle the Greedy.
かけて。
It's at this point in the light novel that we learn a lot more about both these characters, but I will technically consider that to be a spoiler, so I won't mention it here. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And this is where Rimuru really messes up. Well, not really messes up, but he probably should have figured that this was going to be a very bad situation for him to be in.
ついに我の最終防衛ラインの出番だな。
ああ、すまん。最終防衛ライン。
God, that scowl. Seriously, look at the way she is scowling at him. It is beautiful.
さんの出番はなかったわ。
何？せっかく気合を入れて待っておったというのに。
Don't say it, man. Don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't freaking say it.
おお、魔王ルミナスよ。
Yep, right there. It's at this point that the secret of a 1,000-year-old religion just got exposed. Oh, God. Veldora. No, bad lizard.
そうだ。今度はちゃんと覚えて
And he is so proud of himself for actually remembering her freaking name.
魔王ルミナスよ。ルミナス様が。
Yeah, Lord Luminous is in fact Demon Lord Luminous, meaning your entire religion is focused on worshipping a demon lord. Which is going to be particularly, hard to hear for Reynard, given that the lie the 7-day clergy told him was that Hinata was in league with Demon Lord Valentine, which, yeah, that was in fact true. The person that Hinata works for was essentially the person who murdered all of Reynard's friends. So, yeah. Problematic. Oh, I love her sword. Absolutely love her sword. Now, while she might not be a match for Veldora, she's one of the few people in the world who could actually hurt him, so yeah, he has a right to be afraid. Oh, good lord above. Okay, awesome. This has been literally hours of her beating him up while everyone just sits around watching. Unfortunately, though, this did also remove one of my favorite scenes in the light novel and the manga, which was basically Rimuru handing Veldora over to her as, she's, shocked for a second. She's like, all right, I like you. You have a good head on your shoulders, Mr. Slime. And then she starts torturing him. And while this may be essentially torture for Veldora, it's also incredibly helpful for him as it's absorbing all the magicals he has building up inside of him and buys him time before he eventually is going to need to explode, more or less. God above, Rimuru, seriously. I know he caused you problems, but seriously, you're just like, oh, that's interesting. Yes, it's at this point where everyone basically decides, okay, we know our leader is actually a demon lord, but we also know that we stand no chance going against her, so she is essentially a god in our book. If she can fight the storm dragon Veldora that well, then she is basically just a freaking god anyway. As it certainly... Okay, I think this is a different closing. Interesting. Seriously? These two are having a competition to see who can last longer in the sauna. you're both like, borderline gods. I don't think that he could actually affect you in any real way. Oh god, I love the confused look on his face. He's like, what is this strange creature in the bath with me? It appears to be a duck. Why is there a duck in here with me? Oh god, seriously. This I love. Just the Crusader laughing and smiling with these two. It's freaking adorable. But we also did cut out, we seemed to cut out a scene of Rimuru trying to sneak into, well, not really sneak into the female bath, basically be like, oh, I'm genderless, so I can show you how it all works, and join them, only for Hinata to be very, very much against it. Though Luminous didn't really care. Yeah, also, Luminous has a bit of a thing for Hinata, if that wasn't obvious. In fact, she actually praised Rimuru for creating such an amazing place where she could, stare at Hinata. That girl's kind of a perv, I gotta say. Seriously, are they actually cutting through all of this? Because this is one of my favorite scenes in this part of the series. Just the whole, welcoming, getting to know everyone, eating together. It's such a fun scene. Oh yeah, also they have beer, which is not actually a thing in this world, but Rimuru makes it, and it is freaking delicious. Also, very strong reaction to being served sake by a goblin, especially one that cute. Oh yeah, and Hinata's like, this is more food. This is more food from my world. Also, this is seafood. You are in the middle of a forest. How do you get seafood all the way out here? That's a very interesting way to eat it. And yeah, Luminous has an absolutely fantastic time at this little party. Oh, almost missed something right there. Oh, there is yeah. So their battle was interesting and ended with, as far as I can tell, her getting tied up and having some very interesting feelings for this dude right here. Seriously. All it takes is some beer for the paladins to literally lock arms and laugh all night long with freaking goblins. Yeah, also she drank so much she lost control of her transformation and became part snake. I think, oh god, is this the party or is the other party? Where girl over here literally turned into a tiger, full tiger, because she was so drunk and then was embarrassed the next day because it was basically the equivalent of being seen naked. Okay, next time, reconciliation and agreement. So, overall, great episode. I mean, the visuals and some of those attacks, other than, Luminous's attack, were fantastic. I loved all of them. And just overall, it was a great way of just showing everything, showing Hinata's backstory, her past, how this all came about, why the 7-Day Clergy are the bad guys. Great wrap for everything. But just, I'm very disappointed in this ending, as they're doing a montage of just such a great scene of all of them partying up, having a fun time. Luminous actually teaches Rimuru how to get drunk. Yeah, it turns out you can actually turn off the poison nullification skill and let yourself get wasted if you really want to, which gives him a very nasty hangover the next day that Raphael refuses to do anything about. And, also there's black rice, which is hilarious. They make black rice, which is so densely packed with magicules that it's literally impossible for a human to eat it without dying. And yet Zoe feeds it to the paladins, or at least in the manga he does, and he's like, hey, you didn't die, cool! Whereas in the light novel, Rimuru is like, oh, wait, no, don't eat that! Oh, you're alive? Interesting. I'm not sure how that is, but awesome! Since they have such high, resistance to magicules. Also, just like rice in general, that's not really a thing in this world, or at least not how it was back in Japan. So Hinata is shocked that Rimuru has enough rice to actually, feed everyone with. He has a limited supply, since right now, Shion herself needs to make all of it, harvest all of it with her, master chef skill. But he still is in the process of actually, making rice and actually bringing it to this world. He's working with his farmers on the proper way to grow it, the proper strain to make all of that. Just, God, there's so much here. And I'm really irked they're just skipping through this with a montage. What the freak? But anyway, though, yeah, now matters have been settled, and Rimuru is now friends with the Holy Nation, with Ubelius, and with the West itself. I mean, like I said before, the Church owes Rimuru a lot because they've kind of, invaded him twice, and their 7-day clergy have tried a whole lot of things to mess with him and start war with him, which, I mean, that's important negotiation table. Though it's also relevant that, Veldora kind of revealed the whole secret Luminous has been trying to keep hidden. But, I think she got her revenge by torturing him for very, very long time. And like I said, also disappointed, they skipped the scene of Rimuru literally handing Veldora over to her. I mean, like I said, even Luminous was shocked, like, alright, awesome, thanks! Alright, so yeah, I guess next episode brings us back to the meetings as we try to figure out what comes next with Tempest, and also what comes next with this series, because we're in episode 10 right now, and as far as I know, this is a 24-episode season, meaning we're still going to get, at the very least, Volume 8, and certainly Volume 9 as well. That might sound insane to do 2 volumes in that span of time, but Volume 8 is literally just the epilogue to this volume and the prologue to next volume, just getting set up for what comes next, which, I mean, I'm not going to say it's an awful arc, but it's going to be a very strange arc to end things on. Not really like a battle-heavy thing, more of just showing off Tempest, essentially. But anyway, let me know down below. What do you think of the changes? What do you think of Veldora and Luminous' relationship? What do you think the Paladins are going to do now they realize their god is actually a Demon Lord? And what comes next for Tempest and the Holy Nation of Lubelius and the West as a whole? I mean, if Lubelius says, hey, Tempest is cool, the Western nations should be willing to negotiate with them moving forward. Let me think all this down below, and until next time, peace!